I say this every week, but I mean it. I hope this time. This should be a quick screencast because week 5 finds us hopefully landing in a little bit of a rhythm when it comes to peer review, posting the spreadsheets, asking me for help, that sort of thing. So the Digital Sabbath is, as I said last week, a self-paced assignment. You don't really need anything outside of your own, sense of time management and scheduling and I guess work ethic to get this assignment completed. So, these next 2 weeks are going to be sort of in flux. Some of you have already done your digital Sabbaths, which is awesome. Some of you, and I'm sure this has to do with work and sports and other sorts of commitments, have, chosen to complete your digital Sabbath, sort of later on. And so we just have to sort of take the rough drafts as they roll in and do peer review as we are prepared to, which I think is a really nice feature of Google Drive instead of, using Angel. In this particular instance, don't tell my bosses that. So there's a spreadsheet. It should be empty. Let's see. Yeah, I've got this blank peer review spreadsheet. No one's posted to it just yet, which is, of course, to be expected as I'm recording this screencast pretty early in, I guess, what you would call week 4. But when you're ready, post your rough draft to it. Some of you are going to be done with this assignment quite quickly and ready to sort of submit the final draft, and that's great. What you do with that extra time that you've earned yourself is sort of up to you. Do you put your feet up for a minute? Do you get caught up on your other classes? Or do you get ahead in my class? That would, of course, the third option would be my preference for you all. And so I share a link to the research essay folder. The research essay is, of course, one of the larger projects that you'll work on, and by far your biggest written project for this class. So I'd say the sooner you get cracking on it, the better. That's right, cracking. I try to put this everywhere. Email me or kick me. Any and all questions that you have about anything that you see. I try to be fairly clear, and as I'm making my way through your observation essays, it appears as though much of what I'm teaching is getting through to, well, let's say the vast majority of you, which is, of course, very encouraging and validating that I'm not wasting my time spinning my wheels or anything like that. So, again, we have a very relaxed time frame. You'll see that, the due dates really aren't for quite a bit now. Begin and finish and continue your digital Sabbath. How to organize your essay. So I'm done talking about the digital Sabbath itself, how to conduct it, and there's certainly a screencast already for it that I've reposted this week that you are more than encouraged to check out. So let's get into some of these fairly detailed tips. For I said this last week. The primary research, you're the sort of the research subject and you're the research instrument for this assignment, which I kind of dig. I think it's kind of an interesting way to approach primary research. So there should be sort of 3 phases to your essay. There's so many ways to write it in an interesting way or to organize it, to structure your essay outside of a straightforward narrative. This will be special to those of you that bother to get 3.5 minutes into my screencast. I'm going to get, there's almost 100 of you, excuse me, and if I could just get, not 100 of you to start your essay off with, I woke up in the morning and I forgot that I couldn't use my alarm, and then I got into the shower and I forgot I couldn't listen to Pandora while I was taking my shower. Like, if I can challenge you all to go a bit beyond narrative conventions, just starting at the beginning of your digital Sabbath and ending at the end of it, not only I think will you show me the depth of your consideration in terms of what I'm asking you to do, but you also be challenging yourselves as writers. And we get so hung up on the primary research aspects of this class, or at least I do sometimes, the collecting and analyzing and the results. We're just so deep in data all the time that I think we lose some of the artistry of the writing process. And so as you're entering into your drafting and revising phases here, I'll challenge you, especially those of you that did very well with the observation essay. Many of you really are done quite fine. I'm a tough grader, but you're making me sort of reconsider that boast. I'd love to see you challenge yourself, stretch your writerly muscles a little more than maybe the assignment requires you to. I like the above and beyond students. I always tried to be an above and beyond student myself, and I certainly didn't succeed all the time, but it was always an aspiration of mine. So I'm not going to read all this stuff out loud to you, but you need to have some sort of background info. You need info about the digital Sabbath, and then we're going to springboard here, your reflection and your ongoing interests. So I guess I want a before, during, and sort of an after. And so how you do that is completely up to you. There's so many artistic ways to organize that. Now, if I get an essay that just straightforwardly answers all these questions, I'm not going to be a happy camper. So don't do that. Let's talk for a minute about the quote that you have to have at least one properly outside source relevant to the ongoing interest that you have related to technology use. You have to, even, hopefully you have several to choose from, but even if you're like, I'm already sick of writing about technology, what I need you to do is find one thing that you can maybe springboard off of, because the end of this assignment is really it's supposed to kind of springboard you into your research essay, some area of interest. So, as I'm grading your Digital Sabbath final drafts, what I'll be also looking for is a way for me to encourage, say, hey, you should write about this for your research essay. So that maybe like the brainstorming phase of the writing process, it doesn't bog us down, so we can get to the actual hard work, nitty gritty aspects of, what the research essay is going to ask you to do. But we have plenty of time to worry about the research essay in the back half of this semester. So general tips: have a clear purpose, okay? Tell readers where you're going to go in some ways. I don't need an explicit thesis statement. I like a nice implicit one, though. Again, I already said it's right with style. All right, take some risks. Nobody learns anything by doing the same thing over and over. You have to challenge yourself. If I ran the same flat route on the towpath every single day, my legs would get very used to that, and I would probably get good at that type of running on flat, trail surfaces. But I wouldn't be good at other stuff. I try to mix in everything. You should too. Details. Don't tell me that you read a book. Tell me that you picked up Harry Potter, and the Sorcerer's Stone or something. Tell me what you did. Be specific. Pull it all together at the end. I just don't want your essay to go, oh, and I, going to bed that night, I was so happy that I knew when I woke up I could check my phone, or when midnight struck, I could, open my phone up and I could see what I was missing. That's interesting, but it's not really unpacking or analyzing anything. Sophisticated vocabulary would be nice. Audience aware. I've got lots of people using the word you, and that's something I taught you since Jump Street, since the very first class, first week anyway, to avoid. And some of you are still doing it. MLA formatting, is pretty much out the door now. So we are APA formatting. I'm going to try to put that in the agenda a few more places, so that I feel like there's a little bit of a misunderstanding going on that you can just format your papers however you want. You have to do APA. Unless you're one of these majors, English, math, or digital design. And if you are, will you please indicate that to me? And then proofread carefully. Don't be careless. Keep in touch. Let's see. So there's sample essays. I'm not going to get into these. Do I want to look at one of these? I was just checking them out. Let's look at sample essay 3. You can see that there are I'm not even going to read this. I should cut this part out. You can read sample essays. I feel so dirty when I teach sample essays. I feel like it's a shortcut that I could avoid if I was a better professor. You have Invention Journal 4. Sorry about that little detour there. That was 20 seconds I could have spent better. And since I use the free software, I cannot edit this screencast at all. Grr. All right. Invention Journal 4 is your Digital Sabbath log. Okay. Share what you did, thought, and felt. Now there should be 3 very distinct forms of, I guess, of expression. What you did is sort of a physical expression of what you're doing. Thought was maybe like your intellectual stuff, maybe the ideas that kind of came up as you were, embarking on your Digital Sabbath. And then felt. Those, of course, are emotions, how you emotionally grappled with what was happening during your Digital Sabbath. So, and then if you do this before, during, and after, you're sort of in a very roundabout way, sort of already structuring your essay, your Digital Sabbath essay. So anything, you can use whatever digital tools you want for the before and after part, but during your Digital Sabbath, you need to stay away from technology, obviously. So I'm curious to see how you'll take notes, that sort of thing. Then we have more examples. I'm not going to go down that same rabbit hole. I'm just going to let these examples speak for themselves. There's lots of successful ways, lots of ways to be successful with the Invention Journal. These readings hopefully look very familiar. You chose one for your reader response last week. And then to wrap things up here, hopefully you have the beats of the peer review down. You can complete your peer review as soon as you post your rough draft, which is, I think, a nice feature of the way I do things. I get plenty of positive feedback on it. I hope you share my previous classes enthusiasm for the way I do peer review, that you're not waiting on anyone, that there's very few technological glitches anymore. At least I'm hoping for there not to be. But I will say this one more time: if the peer review person hasn't given you proper, sharing settings, hasn't done their job, just move on. Find someone else to peer review, and then give that person double the peer review if there's someone who's already responded to the one that's sort of two above you. I don't care. I don't want to slow you down from getting your work done. So week 6, I doubt you'll get a screencast from me because it's a fairly tidy little week. But who knows? Maybe I'll feel like giving you one. Okay, this is, I guess this counts as short for me. So send me your questions, and good luck.